Hi, welcome to Dubro 101. We're here in the shop today with my old school Model Works Chaos 60, and we're going to do some maintenance. I understand that some people in the hobby may think that once they install an airplane part or a piece of hardware or assemble a model, they can just fly it until they crash it. But that's really not the case. There are some things that we do need to do seasonally, and I think that's really up to you on how you want to approach this. You can either do this post-season or pre-season, flying season that is. And so here are just a couple of things, more than a couple probably, that you can find useful to help maintain your model using your Dubro hardware. So what we're going to do is go ahead and take the model from the very front of it to the very back of it, and we'll address one item at a time. First, we'll start with the spinner. What I like to do is first remove the spinner. If I've had some nose overs, I might check for some damage. Maybe put a fresh coat of paint on it if it needs paint. Really what I'm after here is to make sure that my prop nut is tight. And it is. I'll check for any warping of the back plate, and this one looks just fine. And I will replace the spinner and make sure that it's tight. Sometimes these engines can vibrate some of these screws a little bit loose, and making sure that they are tight is part of our safety. Next, I'm going to rotate my carburetor barrel a little bit forward so that I can inspect my clevis here. I want to make sure that the clevis is still pinched together and that the vinyl wrap around the clevis is still in good condition. If there's a crack or any sort of split on any of the sides, I'll be sure to try to replace that. So I remove it by sliding it back, and then I will rotate it to check all the way around. And this one looks good, so I'll slide it back into position so that it can continue to keep the clevis in place. I like to keep my carburetor closed so that dust doesn't accumulate inside while sitting in my shop. I do build a lot of models, so that makes sense for me. My next point of inspection is going to be the fuel filter. Now, I understand that we don't have any clips on any of these tubing, mostly because the tubing is quite undersized for the nipples involved here. So it really is not needed, especially for this particular model. If you're inclined to have those, make sure that you're checking them as well. Check them for corrosion. The corrosion on the metal can cut into the tubing, so you want to make sure that you remove any old clips that may be corroded as a result of any moisture or fuel mixing together on that. Again, safety thing, we want to make sure that we're not leaking fuel all over the place. So to remove the fuel filter, we're simply going to disconnect it from the tube on both sides, and then we're going to open it up and check it inside. If you've never opened one of these fuel filters before, they simply unscrew. It's not very hard. Just simply use 2 pairs of pliers and it should open right up. You don't have to get any fancy tools. There is an O-ring, so make sure that you inspect that O-ring. Make sure that it's not distorted, that it's sort of round, and that it will provide an adequate seal. Inside we can see that it's nice and clean, and inside this side is a sieve. It's our filter, right? Our filter element. If there's any debris or anything, you can try to blow it out with some air. You can also try to use some brake clean. Should be just fine to blow it out through this way. Now I will note that these filters from Dubro do not have any direction in terms of fuel flow. It can go in either direction. I prefer to have mine, just as a rule of thumb, in all of my models with the seal pointing toward the engine, just so that they're all the same and I don't have to think about it. At this point, I'll go through and check all of the hardware, all of the bolts for the motor mount, and make sure that those are snugged up and nice and tight. Do need to remove the muffler in order to check those mounts as well, but that's all part of the process too. Your Dubro ball wrench sets, either in the imperial or metric sizes, will come in very handy for all of this work. I highly recommend that you grab a pair, as well as the racks that can store them on your bench. On our nose gear, we have a few flathead screws we need to make sure are tight. Nothing too major. And other hardware that we need to check as well: the set screw for the steering arm, a grub screw on the collet for controlling the height of the steering arm. There's another collet down here, as well as over here. Check them all. If you're not using blue Loctite on these grub screws, I highly recommend that you do, so that you don't lose your wheel. I also have a swivel ball link up here that I need to inspect. That can be popped off and cleaned if there's debris in there, but this one looks quite clean, so it doesn't need anything. But I'll make sure that it's tight. Remaining on the outside of the model at this point, just to wrap up a couple of quick things, I'll make sure that the quick fill fuel mount is nice and tight, as well as my switch so that it's tight too. So as we open up the model, on the inside you can see we've got our fuel tank here, and it's a simple matter of taking it out and inspecting it. There is a pickup in there, the clunk, and we want to make sure that everything is fully inspected and ready to go. Sometimes the line inside the tank can break off, and it's important for us to make sure that we have that pickup there so that we can get fuel, but also so that we don't make a mess and something could break inside. So you're going to open up the fuel tank, pull the line out, and do an inspection. This tubing looks good. You'll also want to take a moment just to overall inspect the tank. It's highly unlikely that there will be a crack in the tank, but it's always good measure just to check while it's out of the plane anyway. Moving on to the wing, I like to inspect each of my hinges. These are pin hinges, not CA style hinges. So I want to make sure that they're free and moving, so I will move the control surface gently, but I will also at each hinge point tug a little bit to make sure that it is not pulling free from the model. And if it is, I can add some additional CA to secure it back in place. This is also a good time to use some additional Rail Zip 2 from Zap products. I use this to help prevent corrosion on the metal pins inside of all of my hinges, and it helps to lubricate the hinge while you're at it. A drop is all I use, and then work it into the joint. With both sides of the model now serviced, I've turned the model over to inspect the main landing gear. I'll do the same thing. I'll check the collets as well as the hardware here that secure the landing gear into place. Those screws, sometimes I will loosen them and then tighten them in order to make sure that they are secure and that they don't get ripped out. If there's any suspect that the screw hole is being stripped, I will remove the screw, apply some CA, and then replace the screw once it is dry. With the model in the inverted position, I also like to lubricate the wheels at this point. I apply a couple of drops of PTFE lubrication, pretty readily available from most hobby stores. With the wing off and in the inverted position, we have a good clear view inside of the main servo tray. This is where we're going to go through and do the same thing that we did previously on the engine. We're going to inspect our clevises to make sure that there are no rips and tears in our keepers, that there's nothing inherently wrong with the clevises themselves. We can also inspect our grub screw here on this easy connector. That way we can make sure that it's secure, because that's for our throttle linkage, right? We don't want anything to go wrong there. Check the screws that secure the servos as well. If there's any wire chafing, you want to make sure that you're inspecting that as well. Inspect your antennas on your radio receiver. Make sure that it's not going to be chafing those as well. It's just good practice and good safety measure to make sure everything is in running and serviceable order. Sometimes I like to go ahead and do a cycle on my battery. I'll do a full discharge and then recharge and then put it back to storage charge, just as good measure to make sure that the battery is operating as I expect it to. That way I don't get to the field and find that something isn't charging properly and then I can't fly. We are now onto the rear of the airplane, where we see much of the same. We're going to be inspecting the same clevis points, makes sense, but we're also going to be inspecting our screws for our control horns as well. Those are much of the same. Again, just go ahead and screw in, screw out, check to make sure that the screw isn't being ripped from the wood, and if there needs to be any servicing there, take care of it. The screw can only do so much if there's wood there available to grab onto. Every once in a while, I do like to pull the whole flexible laser rod out of the assembly and do some basic lubrication. And by lubrication, I mean nothing liquid. I will actually use a dry lubricant, a Teflon dry lubricant that is a spray, and I will simply spray a couple of quick squirts inside and it'll come shooting out, either through either end, doesn't matter, you got to clean it up. But that way it's lubricated and you're blowing any debris that may accumulate over time inside there. Of course, we also have hinges on the elevators and rudder to service as well. Of course, being respectful to the neighbors is important, but I also like to run up my engine to make sure that it's working. So with all of that, I've got a little bit of a glow fuel mess to clean up, but otherwise I've got a great model that's fully serviced and ready to fly, and I can have confidence that all of the hardware is going to operate as it should, and it will for a long, long time. Head on over to Dubro.com and get the things that you need to keep working on your models, and we'll see you in the next one.